Hey everyone, it's Emanuel here. We are still continuing with this book, The Body Code. Look forward to always communicating with the community of people who are either clients or if you're practitioners. Just excited to add value with this amazing book and to see if there's anything that I've learned that can maybe help you along your journey. Again, whether you're a client or you're a practitioner. Also, for those of you who have been curious, there is a solar room happening this week. One of the things that we do is we do group healing over here with Compass Healing. And this one has to do everything with unconditional love for yourself. What would life look like if self-love mastery is possible? And it's not something that's selfish. A lot of people say self-love is selfish. It's not. To love yourself is the only way that we can love others, to be honest. And I believe it comes from our Creator. If we know how much our Creator loves us, it's easier for us to love ourselves. And especially because we are experiencing unconditional love every single millisecond. We're the ones blocking it, or we're the ones that are rejecting it, or we're the ones that don't believe it. And so we talk about that. We're going to be doing that healing, self-love mastery as well. Also removing any sort of fake personas we've created to compensate for lack of love in your body. So maybe we create these fake personas like a Cinderella persona, or we create false images of ourselves that are in our mind that constantly put us in a state of conditional love or conditional liking. And so we're going to change that. So this week we have 7 days of healing. If you want to be a part of that, go to haveempathyandlove.com. Again, haveempathyandlove.com. And then go ahead and search for me. Say, hey, look for Emanuel. Say, hey, I'm here. And I will send you an invite to that group. Okay, guys, so let's get started. Page 110. It talks about the emotion code chart on the left side. Obviously, we see that there. And there's an aspect of consciousness. So I know, for example, if we were to go to page, one of the things that I love to talk about is this thing called aspect of consciousness. Everyone has these subconscious things going on beyond just this body of subconscious. We have I kind of consider them like almost like armies in our subconscious. There's the negative kind, there's the positive kind. It's not just Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde or Mr. Hyde. There's Dr. Jekylls and Mr. Hydes with an S. There's different versions of us that come out, and they're the ones that are being reactive. When we want to take the wheel and we want to be present, we can't be because we have these things that keep popping up, these version of us that's traumatized. You know, let's say like you're around your family consciousness will come out, and it's this one that might be codependent, and this one that might be very vulnerable, this one that might be have trauma bonds. So it's not really you, it's just this version of you. And so we're going to talk about that maybe, you know, that's something that you want to look into. Also, because some people, they have this thing, and I talk about it, where sometimes I have clients that say, I keep finding this emotion, and I keep falling into this emotion like sadness. I'm trying to release another trapped emotion, sadness. Let's release another one, inherited sadness. You might have an aspect of consciousness of a specific emotion, and maybe you have a traumatized version of yourself that has almost encapsulated that emotion. So for example, anger, maybe you have a specific aspect of consciousness which is specific anger, the emotion of anger. So that is a real one. Again, it's called aspect of consciousness, specific emotion. And you might have trauma behind abandonment or trauma behind longing. So whenever you muscle test stuff, it seems like you always get longing. You're like, oh man, longing again. Oh no, longing again, inherited longing. I can't work with clients because my whole body's ringing this longing. So that might be it. There might be a ringing energy in the body, like an emotional resonance energy that is ringing in the body. So that's why you always muscle test that. Also, there could be imbalances that always make you feel a certain way. That's why you muscle test it. That could be a body code session itself. On page 112, we're going to talk about the heart wall. And I remember I went to Dr. Brad's home, and I was able to look at this amazing hieroglyphic thing, which is called the weighing of the heart. And it's beautiful. It's like a 2-level hieroglyphic. So there's like the top level, the bottom level. And the bottom level, it shows these sort of like gods waiting by the veil, like, beyond the veil. If we're in the physical veil, then there's like the spiritual veil, something that's beyond our eyes. But it shows kind of like a veil there, like a wall. And beyond that is all of the people with no bodies. And then there's the bodies that are slowly walking you up to this wall. And the gods are there. And what's interesting is that they're weighing the heart, and they weigh it in contrast to a feather. If your heart weighs less than a feather, then you go to a higher kingdom. If it's heavier than a feather, and it's like, which is a lot of heart walls, you go into a different place because maybe you're not ready for that highest form of living, And I always tell people this, am I going to go to heaven? Am I going to go to hell? Hey, look, I'm not the judge of that. I know there is a heaven and a hell, but I'm not the judge of that. But doesn't it make sense that you would want to remove as much trauma from this life to not bring it to the next? Some people say, all of a sudden when I go to the next, I'm going to be this celestial being, and it's like, well, think about it. Then why do all this work? Then why work on yourself? Why improve yourself? Why sanctify yourself? Why use the atonement on yourself? Why have the Holy Ghost basically put off the natural man? Why all this work if we're going to become perfect when we cross over? It's not like that. We're gonna change in the twinkling of an eye, but we still have work to do, and there's still work happening on the other side. So it's really interesting. So the heart wall represents just trauma from this world, and we're trying to remove that trauma to be able to really release your gifts and your mission in this life, and also to feel people's love and to give people's love. Our goal is basically to experience charity, which is God's love on earth. Anything that's blocking that, we're really selling ourselves short what our body can do. And so, but I thought that was very interesting, the weighing of the heart. That's what they called it. Also, there's it talks about in the emotion code too. If you look on page 113, it talks about how this husband has changed, on the maybe third paragraph. It makes it harder to connect with other people, not only to give love, but to receive it as well. Removing that wall of trapped emotions that surround your heart can be life-changing. And so sometimes it shows here a really cool change in someone from Guaycamo R from London. But sometimes with a husband, for example, I've had some husbands I've worked with, there's like a delay. Sometimes you experience change right away. Sometimes you get, I call it bleeps, moments where you are improving. But other times you have to wait 1, 2, 3 months. It's almost like you have to give it time for your life to pull in things from the world. And so I use the Wayne Dyer example. We're pulling kites from the sky. We can't see it. There's these clouds that are covering the kites, but that doesn't mean you're not moving it closer to you. The heart wall is the same way too. There's things that if you keep sending off clear messages, now with all this trauma behind it, there's things that are coming to you and you don't even know it. Events, certain people, businesses, opportunities, finances, more love, but it's just, you can't see it yet. But don't give up. It's like your heart is still sending out messages. If you're someone who uses the law of attraction, maybe in the morning time you look at your vision board. I have a vision board right next to me with a ton of affirmations, my goals for 2023. So if you look at that more, you're sending out heart messages more. If you're sending love to friends and family, you're sending out more love messages. But if you don't take the time to look at your vision board, if you don't take the time to imagine it in your mind, if you don't take time to meditate and send love to the world, send love to people that you care about, then you're not using your full, potential for the heart wall being cleared. And so it does take time. But if you're someone who's been doing that for a long time, watch, when you clear your heart wall, you'll probably already start getting some things waiting for you, because now you have the clearest message, plus you're using the law of attraction at the same time. So it may take time. Also, if we go to page 116, it talks about helpful tips for removing the heart wall. What I've noticed here is that the average person, it takes about maybe 2 or 3 sessions. For someone who's been through a lot, like narcissistic husband or a partner or war or a lot of bullying, sometimes it may take 4 to 5 sessions. You might also want to write this down. There is also a thing called propensity to create a heart wall. Check your percentage, what it is. Some people have a very high propensity, 80, 90% to create these things. Some of you guys are 25%, 23%. Just use the body code, remove certain energies, and it actually lowers the propensity of making a new heart wall over and over again. Again, that's called propensity to create heart walls. And the last thing, this is kind of a short one here, page 119, it says, there was a dog that was had physical trauma, and I love the story. You might have heard it before. I'm sorry if you have, but I worked on a dog once at my friend. I was having a reunion at his house, and they were all watching hockey. And I came over. I probably only had a little bit of dinner, and then all of a sudden, someone had to bring up, Emanuel, there's emotion code, body code, and I was working like full time with everyone there. It's your turn. It's your turn now. It's your turn. You know, and it was a lot of fun. My cold food, you know, I can always eat food later on, you know. It says actually in the New Testament, it's interesting, that, you know, the disciples are concerned that Jesus isn't eating. And he basically said that preaching the gospel is his meat. It's the same way I feel about emotion code, body code. It's like, people are like, aren't you hungry? It's like, no, when you are helping others physically, emotionally, it's a form of eating, you know, a form of spiritually feeding yourself. And sometimes you forget to eat, you know, and so that's what I feel when I'm helping people out. Sometimes I forget to. It used to be way worse when I first got started. I would skip meals all the time because I was just so fixated on just helping people out. But no, take care of yourself though. It's very important to take care of yourself for sure. Anyway, this dog, it was limping and it was hurt. I had a cast over. It was really sad. This little Chihuahua. And I remember just saying, can I work on your dog? It was my friend's sister's dog. I just asked her a question. I just said, hey, what happened to the dog? Oh, the dog fell off the bed. Oh, wow, and hurt his leg? That's it? Yeah. Can I work on it? And it was really funny. I just said, you probably have, I'm just guessing intuitively, a physical trauma because you got hurt, right? And then you probably have inflammation because you can't walk well. So I just guessed. I'm like, do you? You do. That back in the day was called inflammation energy. Now it's called recovery interference energy. Did it have it? It did. So I was like, okay, physical trauma, recovery interference energy. What else? And then basically I said, do you have any trapped emotions that we can release here? And what's interesting is the body produced trapped emotions post the accident. Like the little dog was like, ow, like I can't walk, nervous, panic when the fall. And so it's kind of like either during the accident or post the accident. There were just 4 small trapped emotions. And I kept asking, like, wow, this is like either during it or right after. You know, sometimes it's in their past, in their womb, or it's not helping them out, but it's just 4 of them. And I kid you not, that dog was walking and was walking in front of everybody with no limp. And everyone was just freaking out, like, wait a minute, why isn't that dog limping? It always limps, and it was just walking normally. So this is a beautiful work. The fact that I can go up to a random stranger's dog and be like, let me help this one out, and God got permission, that dog's way happier now, and which makes the owner happy. You know, it's like family, you know? And so, but anyway, this one doesn't have too much commentary. We're going to get into allergies and ideas. So that will be next time. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions at all. I also want to kind of open it up. If you have any questions, if you're like, oh, it's nothing to do with these 10 pages, but I've always wondered with the body code, always wondered with this, feel free to comment below. I'd love to answer you and help you along your journey. Again, this is just from my experience. I'm not sponsored by Discover Healing. This is the last 9 years. I've worked with a lot of people, and I kind of see patterns and themes and like what chart works better and things like that. So hopefully you get some value out of this. Feel free to comment below what stood out to you. And again, if you're interested in the weekly healing, don't forget to join Heal, which is haveempathyandlove.com, and look forward to seeing you soon. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.